Today we're going to be taking a look at the Wolverine Airsoft MTW, an HPA airsoft rifle which is truly in a league of its own. With a proprietary body and engine, the question asks, is it worth the price, and is this new idea for airsoft well executed? Find out in today's review. What's up, Airsofters? My name is Lane and welcome back to the BB Warrior. We're here to help you have a better time both on and off the airsoft field through our educational videos. And if you enjoy videos like these, I'd love it if you joined our community by hitting that subscribe button down below. And while you're at it, hit the bell icon to get updated when we post brand new videos here on the channel. Now, if you're not very well versed in HPA or you just don't know about the MTW, you might be asking, Lane, what makes this unique compared to other engines and other HPA offerings on the market, like the Tippmann, for example? Well, the Wolverine Airsoft MTW, or the modular training weapon, is unique in the fact that it does not need an AEG gearbox. The body was made by Wolverine for the sole purpose of this engine, which eliminates two very bad things about the airsoft industry. One, you don't have to worry about tolerances, which are incredibly loose within the airsoft world. Nothing is made exactly the same from company to company. This is a very nice thing to never have to worry about again. At the same time, because there's no gearbox and the body is made specifically for the engine, alignment is never an issue. If you've ever tried to tech an airsoft gun with an HPA engine in it, you know this can be one of the most frustrating things to do. And some guns, especially like M14s for example, have a horrible time with alignment. So I'm really happy that Wolverine came up with this system. It is a self-contained HPA engine in here that you can run off of a line, a Wraith, or their Wraith Aero stocks. We'll be getting into those attachments later in the video, however. So going over the overall construction of the body, the handguard, the outer barrel, they are all fantastic. Wolverine did an amazing job on these. The gun is sturdy, but at the same time lightweight. It is the lightest M4 that I own. Even with the attachments on it, it is lighter than my VFC Mark 18, to put it in perspective. They did an amazing job with this. I like that they went for a very sleek design. They got rid of the forward assist on there, and they have this beautiful M-LOK rail. I fell in love with this as soon as I saw the first prototype at, I believe, IWA a couple of years ago. This gun externally is fantastic, and they offer it in a couple of different lengths. This is the 10.5 CQB, or carbine version, I believe. They also offer a 14.5-inch barrel, and I believe they now offer the 7-inch barrel as a standard option as well. So you have some variety within the MTW. All of the rails that they offer are M-LOK, but if you don't like this rail for whatever reason, it can take both real steel and airsoft rails, which is pretty impressive. I don't think that anyone else on the market is doing that at the moment. Going internally, this is powered by either standard, you can get it with their Wolverine Inferno engine. It's a good enough engine, it does everything that you're going to need it to. It has a lot of variety, you can change up a lot of settings, don't need to worry about that. If you don't want to worry about batteries, you can also get this with their Reaper M, which I believe is now available. I believe it's a little bit cheaper than the Inferno because it's a mechanical unit. With the Inferno, you know, I've had great success with it so far. The barrel and hop-up in this are fantastic out of the box. There are two things I will say about the hop-up though. It's a rotary hop-up, however, the hop-up does not like the cold. And I've noticed that when I played with this in the colder months. I got this in October-ish of 2018, it might have been September of 2018. The hop-up was pretty bad. However, as I started to go indoors, I went to places with warmer climates, or, you know, it just became summer, the hop-up was fantastic. You can easily hit people 200 feet away with this gun with no problems. The other thing I'll mention, the inner barrels, at least the model that I got, I don't know if they still use them, are made from VFC. They're 6.04s. They're not the best. I mean, even with this great hop-up, it does all right, but if you're looking to replace something in here, I'd replace the inner barrel with something from Prometheus or a higher quality, rather than changing the actual hop-up unit inside. Because this is specifically made for the MTW, I've heard of people having issues with some hop-up units in here, like the Max hop-up, the Pro Wins, things like that. But truthfully, I still like the hop-up in the Wolverine MTW, and I kept it all of this time. Eventually, I'll probably replace the VFC barrel if I keep this gun. But yeah, overall, the internals and the externals are pretty fantastic on this gun. This is an expensive gun, coming in at over $600, but I think that the externals and the internals are pretty much worth it. When you buy this gun, it does come with the MTW magazine, which the only benefit that is going to give you is that when your magazine runs out, it trips a switch and your gun stops firing. So you're going to have to hit your bolt release here on the left-hand side of the receiver. Now, personally, in my experience, I had the MTW mag not feed on me a couple of times. I didn't have the bolt catch function the way that it should have when I put a new magazine in there, and on the first day of using this gun I decided not going to deal with it. I have PTS EPMs, but they're about the same price as the MTW mags, and they feed better. I can get over the fact that I don't have the bolt release function, because to me, that doesn't matter, but I've heard that the MTW mags have gotten better. However, I'm really not willing to try it. I had that bad failure, and I've already got mid-caps that feed fantastically. For me, there's no need to buy these mags that are kind of iffy for me, and they also don't fit very well in Odin Innovation speed loaders, which is one of my favorite things in Airsoft. So the MTW mag, to me, really just kind of, I'll never use one, to be completely honest with you. Now, I do want to get into some of the issues that I've had with this system, because the reason why it took me over a year to review this gun, I've had some pretty bad issues with this gun. I sent it back to Wolverine. I've spent more time than I'd like to admit trying to tech with this gun to make it work right. And almost every single issue that I have had with this gun has originated from the Wraith CO2 stock, the failing point in this gun for me. For those of you who are unfamiliar with Wolverine's Wraith system, how it works is that your HPA airsoft gun has to get air from, well, somewhere. So while most systems are going to run off of a line that goes to a tank on your back, the CO2 stock gets rid of that entirely, so you can have a self-contained system. You replace the buffer tube with the Wraith, which is going to allow you to put CO2 cartridges, like your 12 grams that you typically put in like your airsoft pistol or gas blowback, in the stock. You're going to pull this off, drop it in, close it up, and then you got about 200 shots, depending on how efficient your setup is. And for me, this system was perfect. I thought, wow, this would be amazing. I could have the ability of HPA and the performance, but with the mobility of an AEG. That's how it was in concept. However, my experience with the Wraith stock, as well as my friends' experience with it, has been pretty lackluster. The issues that I have had with the Wraith system is that it's just not consistent and it dumps gas all the time. I had issues where the connector, which is right above this back pin right here, that would constantly leak. I'd have issues where the CO2 would get stuck in there but not go into the gun, which meant that I had to take apart the entire system. I've had leaks go out the back, it just blows O-rings. I've had nothing but issues with the Wraith stock from Wolverine Airsoft, and I'm not the only one. My friend who bought an MTW solely because I said that it was a great airsoft gun, got it with the Wraith installed, and had issues as well. He had a lot of the same issues that I had. He had performance issues. Another one of my friends had issues where as soon as they put it in, it'd be overhopping. If they left their hop up right where it was, by the time they got near the end of the cartridge, you'd be underhopping. Just inconsistency all around with the Wraith CO2 stock. The issue that I have with this is that I bought this gun because I wanted it to be self-contained. The Wraith has failed in that aspect, and it got to the point that I sent the Wraith back to Wolverine. I figured, maybe it was my fault. Maybe, I installed it wrong, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, and that's truthfully what took this review so long to do. So I sent the gun back to Wolverine, and this is really something I have to give Wolverine applaud for. Their customer service is fantastic, easily the best I've had in the airsoft industry, and this isn't just from their employees, it's also from their sponsored players as well. They were all super helpful to get on video chat with me, try to help me work out the issues, and I got to a lot of points where my gun would work, but then I'd leave it in my closet for 2 weeks, go to play airsoft, and it just wouldn't work again. I'd have new issues, I'd have the same issues that I had, and it got to the point that I'm just sick of going to an airsoft game and not being sure if my gun's going to work or not. It's really killed a lot of the fun for airsoft for me, especially because with the Wraith CO2 stock, this is upwards of an $800 airsoft gun. These issues should not be happening. So anyways, I got the Wraith back from Wolverine, went to go use it. They installed the Wraith incorrectly. And you might be asking, Lane, how did they do that? They didn't assemble the regulator correctly. If you're curious what happened, is there's a little sloped piece that's inside of the Storm regulator that the adjustment screw pushes on, and when that slides up and down, that adjusts your velocity. They installed that piece backwards, so I couldn't adjust my velocity anything below 1.8 joules with a 3.2. If you don't know what that is in FPS, it's way too hot to go to any field or event, and I couldn't use this gun at one of my only events I was able to go to this year, which was incredibly disappointing. Again, I'm sick of having a gun that costs so much money, and I don't know if it's going to work when I go on the airsoft field. It can work the night before, break it when I bring it to the field. It's incredibly frustrating. So To me, if you're going to buy the Wolverine Airsoft MTW and you just want a gun that runs off of a line, goes to a tank on your back, the stock configuration, this gun's great. I would absolutely recommend it. If you're going to install something like their Wraith CO2 stock, their Wraith Arrow, which is basically runs off of smaller HPA tanks, do not buy this Airsoft gun. There are much better options out there. I originally bought this gun, used it with the line and tank, and this gun was fantastic. I was ready to give this gun a perfect review. However, I wanted to try it with their aftermarket stuff, like the Wraith Arrow, and this gun just became a huge disappointment to me. I really think that Wolverine's going to have some tough competition coming up. There are other HPA companies that are coming out with very similar systems that I think is going to blow Wolverine out of the water. But that's really going to be my opinions of the Wolverine Airsoft MTW. I think that there's some great things about this gun. I think that it really had potential, but the Wraith just really threw me off and made me not enjoy this gun, and it doesn't do what I need it to. I was looking for a gun that, again, had the mobility of an AEG with the efficiency and the performance of an HPA airsoft gun. I could convert this back to a line and tank and regulator, but I lose one of the things that I was looking for. So this gun just doesn't do it for me, and that's what makes it really a disappointment in my eyes. I think that there are great things about the MTW, it just doesn't do what I need it to, and that's why I can't give it a wholly positive review. But that's going to do it for today's video. If you enjoyed today's video and you found it useful, found it informative, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below, and while you're at it, make sure to hit the bell icon next to it for updates when I post brand new videos here on the channel. Make sure to let me know what you thought about today's review. If you're an MTW owner, I want to know your experience as well. This is the experience and kind of the information that I've gathered from myself, my friends who use the MTW, my friends who use the Wraith system, and it just hasn't been positive. Again, I don't want to give this gun a wholly bad review, just it doesn't do what I need it to, and that's why I don't enjoy it. There are plenty of people out there who love their MTW. The engine's great, everything like that. It's just a disappointment for me. But this has been Lane from the BB Warrior discussing the Wolverine Airsoft MTW, and I will see you all next time.